my dear students, how are you today? Hope you are fine. This is Miss Iman Sami and I'm going to introduce poetry. What is poetry? Poetry is a type of literature that attempts to stir readers' imagination or emotion. In the poetry you will find many kinds of poems, and the poem consists of many stanzas. Each stanza consists of a group of lines. The writer of these poems is called poet. In the poem, we have to pick out a paraphrase, figures of speech, and elements of music. Figures of speech like metaphor, simile, personification, and contrast. In the elements of music, we have alliteration, rhyme scheme, and repetition. Let's begin with types of figures of speech. We will start with the personification. What is the personification? Personification is giving human qualities to non-living things or ideas. For example, flowers dancing in the breeze. Who can dance? You have to ask yourself, who can dance? Humans. So, dancing is the quality of human. When we say flower dancing, so we give flowers human qualities. That's why it's called personification. Number 2, we have simile. Simile. What is simile? Simile is a comparison between two unlike things, and we have to use like or as in it. For example, blind like a bat, cunning as a fox. We have to use as or like. We have another kind of figures of speech is called metaphor. Metaphor is the same of simile, but in metaphor we don't use as and like. Metaphor make comparison to between unrelated things or ideas. For example, my heart is broken. My heart is broken. You have to ask yourself, is your heart a breakable thing? No, it isn't. So the poet here compares the heart to a breakable thing. We have also contrast. A contrast often means opposite. For example, black and white, here and there, up and down, and so on. Number 2, we are going to talk about elements of music, and they are totally different from figures of speech. We have alliteration, rhyme scheme, and repetition in the elements of music. Let's start with alliteration. The alliteration is the repetition of the beginning sounds in two words or more. For example, he sells seashells. What is the repeated sound here in this line? Yes, sells, sea. They have the same beginning sound, so they have alliteration. So, you have to say the sound sa is repeated in sell and sea. It gives internal music. You might ask me, we started the word shell with the S letter, but it's not alliteration. Although it starts with letter S, but it's not the same sound, so it's not alliteration. Number 2, we are going to talk about repetition. Repetition is very easy, repeating the same word to create musical effect or focus on the idea. For example, water, water everywhere. We have two repeated words, water, water. Next one, we have the rhyme scheme. So what is the rhyme scheme? The rhyme scheme is the ordered pattern of rhymes at the end of each line of the poem. And we arrange the rhyme scheme using A, B, C instead of 1, 2, 3. So the first line we will call it A. And the second sound, B. And the third sound, C. And so on. Look at this stanza and let's read it together. He went to bed and pumped his head. He went to sleep by counting the sheep. Then he found he was dead. Look at the ending of each line. Bed. Because this is the first sound, so logically you will say A. Don't forget, we said we will arrange it A, B, C. Okay? If you notice, you will see bed, head, they are the same. So you will use A, because the last sound is repeated. Next one, sleep. You will see sleep. Sleep is different from head. So we will give it B because it's the second sound. We will find next one, sheep. So sleep, sheep. They're the same. So we will give them the same order, B2. The last line we have here, dead. If you notice, you will see dead. It's like bed at the beginning and head. So we are going to give it the same order, which is A, because it's the same of bed, head. So the rhyme scheme here is A, B, B, A. Our poem today is called Day. Day is written by the poet Sir Cecil Spring Rice. And the structure of this poem, it consists of 5 stanzas. Each stanza has 4 lines. Except the last stanza, it has only 3 lines. The main theme of this poem is comparing the work of elements of nature, which are sun, rain, sea, and air, to the work of the man, and stressing that elements of nature are more important than a man. If they stopped working, it would be the end of the world. But for man, if one died, another would replace him. I am busy, said the sea. I am busy, think of me, making contents to be. I am busy, said the sea. I am busy, said the rain. When I fall, it's not in vain. Wait, and you will see the grain. I am busy, said the rain. I am busy, said the air, blowing here and blowing there, up and down and everywhere. I am busy, said the air. I am busy, said the sun, all my planets, everyone. No, my work is never done. I am busy, said the sun. Sea and rain and air and sun. Here is a fellow toiler one, whose task will soon be done. And this is our poem, which is called Day. Let's analyze each stanza. Let's start with the first stanza. I am busy, said the sea. I am busy, think of me, making contents to be. I am busy, said the sea. Let's paraphrase it. And in paraphrasing, we say, what does the poet say in this stanza, in each stanza? In this stanza, the poet started talking about the first element of nature, which is the sea, and how important it is. The sea is saying that it's very busy, forming the land which people live on. And now let's pick out the figures of speech. In the first line, you can see, I am busy, said the sea. You have to ask yourself, who is busy? A person who is busy. Who can say and talk? The person too. So this line has personification because the poet personifies the sea as a man who is busy and can talk. Let's pick out elements of music. We have alliteration in, said, and see. The sa sound is repeated at the beginning of the words to give music. And now let's pick out the rhyme scheme. Let's look at the ending of each line. C. This is the first sound. C, me, B, C. They are the same, so we are going to give them A. Because the first sound is repeated 4 times here. C, me, B, C. They are the same. And now let's move to the second stanza. I am busy, said the rain. When I fall, it's not in vain. Wait, and you will see the grain. I am busy, said the rain. Let's paraphrase it. The poet here says that the rain doesn't fall uselessly. It does a very important job, helping the grains to grow to feed the world. Let's pick out figures of speech. I am busy, said the rain. Also here we have personification. The poet personifies the rain as a person who can talk and is always busy. We have here alliteration, wait, will. So this is alliteration, one of elements of music. The wah sound is repeated at the beginning of the word to give music. We are going to look at the end of each line to pick out the rhyme scheme. We have rain, vein, grain, and rain. So they are the same, and they are the second sound. So we're going to give them the letter B. So the rhyme scheme here, B, 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 B. In the third stanza, the air will talk. I am busy, said the air, blowing here and blowing there, up and down and everywhere. I am busy, said the air. Let's paraphrase it. The poet continues to describe the air and its important job. It's blowing here and there and everywhere. As we see here, I am busy, said the air. It's personification too. The poet personifies the air as a person who can talk and always busy. We have contrast. I want you to pick it out. Yes, that's right, here and there. We have another contrast, up and down, superior. The poet joins 2 opposite ideas to attract the reader and emphasize the meaning. And the rhyme scheme here is C, 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 C. Because if we look at the ending, we will see air, there, where, air. And this is the third sound. We have also repetition. Repetition in the word blowing and blowing. It's repeated. So we have repetition. In the fourth stanza, you will see the sun is talking. It says, I am busy, said the sun. All my planets, everyone. No, my work is never done. I am busy, said the sun. The sun here tells the mankind that it's very busy and its work is never done. It gives us the heat, and without it, man will not exist. Let's pick out the figures of speech. Here we have personification too. I am busy, said the sun. The poet personifies the sun as a person who can talk and always busy. If we are going to pick out the elements of music, we will find alliteration here in said and sun. Sa, sa. So the sound sa is repeated at the beginning of these words to give us music, internal music. We have the rhyme scheme, sun, one, done, sun. So they are repeated and this is the fourth sound. So the sound here is D, 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 D. And here is the fifth stanza, which is the last stanza. Sea and the rain and air and sun. Here is a fellow toiler one, whose task will soon be done. And now let's paraphrase this stanza. In the last stanza, the poet says that these elements of nature are more important than man, because man will die one day. But these elements of nature will continue forever, because they have endless job. So they are more important. Sea and the rain and air and sun. Here is a fellow tailor one. We have personification here, because the poet personifies the elements of nature as a friend who can talk to, and they are the same kind. We have apostrophe here. Sea and the rain and air and sun. The poet is addressing or calling the elements of nature. So this is called apostrophe because he is calling them. Let's continue figures of speech of this stanza. We have elements of music. We have sea, sun. We have alliteration here. The sa sound is repeated at the beginning of the words to give music. Sun, one, done. So you know now we are going to write the rhyme scheme. But if you notice, it's the same sound of the previous stanza. So we are going to continue with the same letters. D, D, D. So the poem day, all in all, we have rhyme scheme. It is A, for A, for B, for C, and 7D. This is the rhyme scheme of day. And now the question time. I'm going to give you a stanza and I'm going to ask you some questions below. Paraphrase the above stanza, pick out 2 figures of speech, and I want you to mention one of elements of music here. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thanks. Bye bye.